YouTube, what's happening? It is Monday, August 5th. As you can see, we have a much smaller slate of baseball to talk about today. Only 9 games happening today. Drop a like and subscribe because yesterday, 11-0. We pitched a perfect game. Everything we threw out there hit. It was amazing. Didn't matter what it was hit. So plus 10.26 units back into the bankroll. That puts us back over 60 units of profit on the season so far. And 60 units of profit in baseball, where I bet as much as I do every single day, and it's nothing but straight bets, that's got to be pretty impressive, I'd say. So doing great. Also saw tons of comments, tons of support. A lot of people say, hey, you helped me win this. You did this. People were sending tips. I appreciate all of that. I appreciate you watching, subbing, being members, everything. I appreciate that because the whole point of this channel is to grow people to become betters, to learn how to use data better, to make better informed decisions. And I think that's doing this job so far. So let's keep doing that. Days like yesterday do not happen all the time. If you've been here any amount of time, you know it's a roller coaster. We're up and down around here. That's how betting works. So we have 9 games. Let's go ahead and jump to that first game right now. All right, first game, we got the Mets and the Cardinals. We see it's pretty much a pick-em with a total of 9 currently. Looking at this, 56% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. Offenses, bottom half right now, 3.7 runs for the Mets while batting 243 for 17th. That puts them in the middle of the pack on both runs and batting average. St. Louis, 3.3 for 22nd, a $1.75 for 29th. So St. Louis is struggling to hit the ball. So you got to give the Mets a slight advantage when it comes to the bats. And the Mets are striking out a little more than average, and St. Louis is doing a great job not doing it. So looking at the pitchers, we have Pallante going out there. You see what Pallante has done. He is very up and down. You can see he pitches great games where he gives up 5 runs. So he pitches 1 or 0 more often than not. So I would say he's a pretty good pitcher. And then Manaea is going out there. You see he got rocked here. What else he did? That's about it. He's pretty good too. So we have 2 really good, pretty decent pitchers going out there. St. Louis can't hit the ball recently, so that should tell you a little something. So you can see that information. He hasn't faced St. Louis and he hasn't faced New York, so neither one stands out there. We pop over to the props. Let's look at a little background, break out the shovels, do a little digging. We see Manaea. We can see what he's done historically versus St. Louis batters. Pham, 11 at bats, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, a 1.8 OPS. You can see some of these numbers, 545, that's ridiculous. And outside of that, we got 12 for 333, but that doesn't really matter for Crawford. Nothing else really stands out besides Pham's number. So Pham is actually going to go on my bat stand out list, because if you stand out like that, you might be going in a hit parlay later. So let's look. And then Cardinals versus lefties. The ones that aren't good just aren't good. So you can see the low one, the numbers where they are, a couple hundreds, 091. That's nothing really truly. There's a 333, but outside of that, nothing stands out. Let's look at this. Strikeouts, he's very up and down. I mean, you can go for 1 to 11. That's too big of a range for me. Hits, 5.5. You're going against St. Louis, who has not hit the ball great. You don't have good. St. Louis doesn't have a good history, and St. Louis is struggling. Half the team is struggling to hit lefties. So I think Manaea under 5.5 hits allowed might be the move. His whole season, he's only gone over 5.5 5 times. So he faced him on May 6th, gave up 6 hits. So, but it's plus 110. I think the under is 145. Yep, under 145. I'm going to take that play right there. I like that. Under 5.5 hits allowed, just because St. Louis, as we see here, is such a they're batting 175, 29th in the last 3. They're struggling. So unless they can have a breakout, I can't see how they get more than 6 hits on them. So let's go back to props, keep on digging, see what else we can find. Earned runs is going to be a no. Let's narrow down. Up and down with him. Walks and outs. Yeah, he's very up. I don't like those. So let's go to Pallante now. Pallante history versus Mets batters. Nothing really stands out. Not enough information on the bats to really do anything. Mets versus righties. We all know Mets are better against lefties. That's a thing right now. You can see the numbers. They're not bad numbers. They're just better against lefties. So let's look at this. Strikeouts. A lot of people might be on the strikeouts today. 3.5 is a very low number. We look over here and see the Mets are striking out 10 times a game for 18th in the last 3. Some might take that. I'm going to leave that alone. I don't know. He's only pitched so many times this year. I don't know. 3.5 feels weird. I'm going to pass on that. Some people take it, though. Have fun. Hits, earned runs, walks, outs. None of that really stands out for me. So what we have... Oh, we also have bats. I have bats now, too. Bang. Nothing on the bats, really. McNeil bases. Pedro bases, McNeil, HRR, no. So nothing does look good. So for what I'm going to do is I don't like a side or a total because they're too equal on the pitchers and the bats. Only thing I like in this is the Manaea under 5.5 hits allowed. I don't like team total under. I don't want to take those. I don't like the game under. It's what, 9? Yeah. So we're just going to take Manaea under 5.5 hits allowed and move on to the next game. All right. Next up, we got Arizona and Cleveland. Arizona is a slight favorite on the road. 8.5 pitcher total. 48% Nerfy based on what they've done this season. Offenses are about equal, 5.7 for 5th in the majors on the last 3 for both these teams, 248 for 13th for Arizona. Meanwhile, Cleveland's a little bit better, 260 for 8th in the last 3. And you can see neither team strikes out all that much. Cleveland's one of those 3. Them, San Diego, and KC, they just don't strike out often. So looking at the pitchers, we got Logan Allen going out there for Cleveland. Pretty good numbers. He had 1 blow up against Baltimore, but outside of that, pretty good for a starter. Gallen, on the other hand, has 1 blow up against Toronto, and then pretty good numbers for a starter. Maybe you can count that as a slight blow up here, but nothing too terrible. I would say the pitchers are still pretty equal in my opinion. So we have equal pitching, equal bats. So these two combined, I can't do a Nerfy because the offenses are too hot. I can't do the side because I don't know which side to take because they're equal on both bats and pitching. And total is 8.5. No, not with, no, I need an advantage one way or the other. So nothing stands out there. Let's dig into the props and see if anything stands out. Let's go to Logan Allen's matchup. History versus Arizona, there isn't much. Bell does have a home run, but outside of that, nothing. Arizona, yeah, a little bit good. Some are good against lefties, some are not. Like 340, 357, 323, 365, sure. But then you get Corbin Carroll, not good against lefties. Peterson, not good against lefties. Bell, 225. So some are good, some are not. And then if you look at the props, we look through these, very up and down recently. We go to strikeouts. Remember, Arizona doesn't strike out much recently, so I wouldn't look at a strikeout prop. Hits are very up and down. Earned runs, up and down. And walks. I don't do walks. So you can see nothing really stands out saying, ooh, take this. So let's go to Gallen and see what we have here. His history, boop, boop, boop. There we go. History versus Cleveland. We have a little more extensive knowledge. We see Naylor cannot hit the man. He is 0 for 11 against him. And Hedges is 1 for 8. So, but then Jose, he's 3 for 6. Got him a home run. So, yeah, there you go. And Cleveland versus righties. And you can see it's up and down. They like lefties more, but even the 2s aren't that bad. There's a couple 1s on here, but not too bad. So, looking at the props for here. Hits, up and down again, strikeouts against Cleveland. Are you crazy? No shot. We'll never take that. Earned runs, up and down, walks, outs. See, nothing stands out. So I don't like anything so far. Let's go over to the bats and see if anything stands out for us. Now, there is a lot of green over here because there's a lot of Arizona bats over here, including him. But it's mainly Arizona if you go down the list because Arizona's been so hot recently. You could see 90% in the last 10 for bases, Corbin Carroll bases, but Corbin Carroll struggles against that side of the plate, the side of the pitching mound. So take that what you will. So to me, I'm looking through these. Bell struggles, Corbin struggles. Marte doesn't struggle. He's doing pretty good. So that might be one to take, but 7 out of 10. I mean, you're reaching a little bit. So for me, personally, you have all the stats. I don't personally like anything in this game, so I'm just going to lay off completely, pass, and move on to the next game. All right, next up, we got Cincinnati and Miami. Cincy is a slight to moderate favorite on the road. It's 8.5 is your total. Looking at the numbers, 54% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. Cincinnati, 2.7 runs a game in their last 3 for 27th. That ain't good. Miami, 4.7 for 16th. That's about average, so advantage Miami. Cincinnati, a $138 batting in their last 3. That puts them dead last in the majors because there's only 30 teams and they got a 30 next to their name. Miami, 255 for 10th. So you got to give Miami the advantage in both these categories. And strikeouts, Miami's going to strike out. That's just what they do. 12.3 for 28. Cincy, 10 for 18. So I would still give Miami a slight, even maybe a slight-ish, maybe lean moderate advantage in the bats. So pitching. Since he's going out there with a bullpen game, apparently, because they got a reliever named Nick Martinez, who only pitches a handful of innings tops. That's beneficial for Miami, technically, even though I look at this, and this dude has been pretty good overall. He's given up, he get 1 earned run there, 1 earned there, couple there, but he had a stretch of just shut him down, so yeah, pretty good numbers. Munoz, on their hand, he is an actual starter. He's a starting pitcher. He only going to pitch 5 innings. Well, he might go 6 occasionally, but you can see he's not that good. He's been blown up a little bit. He had a 1 here, but that's an outlier because you scroll down, we got a 6, 4, 4, 6, 2. Yeah, I think he's more closer to giving up 4 runs on average. So hence the 5.45 ERA and the 1.38 WHIP. Let's look at the props a little closer. We come over to the outlier. We see what we got going on with them. History, there is none. And Cincy versus righties, they're better against lefties, and they're just not good at all. Ones, 209, 0, 159. Some of these are not good numbers. And we see hits is, Cincy's bats are terrible right now. We saw that they're struggling. They're 30th. So we're looking at hits. If you want to go under 4.5, there you go. He goes over though, so that's not a good one. Strikeouts, earned runs. He's very up and down. Walks and outs. So we have a terrible offense against a terrible pitcher. So someone's got to win that battle. I don't know who's going to win that one. So, and then we try. We'll see if we can look at this one. No, we can. Nice. Oh, nope. I cannot look at the side. Okay, never mind. So I was going to see if we do have a prop, but we have no histories to look at with them. Okay. We have strikeouts, 3.5. If you're taking a reliever to do strikeout props, call the number because we don't know how many innings this dude's going to pitch. It might be 1, it might be 3. So, yeah. So, anywho, there we go. Let's look at the bat props. We'll see if anything stands out. Again, remember, since he is struggling offensively, we got Espinal with over bases at 9 out of 10 games. Then you got a bunch of Miami dudes hitting pretty nicely. I'm not seeing anything I really want to take. Yeah, this is just, if anything, I can't even leave Miami because I don't, who has the pitching advantage this one, really? Let's think about it because we have bullpen game for Cincy versus a dude who gives up a bunch of runs for Miami. Ugh. Total's 8.5, but the offense is so bad for Cincy, we can't hit the over. This is one of those games that's just disgusting. It's ugly, it's nasty, it's trash. I'm going to pass and move on to the next one. All right, next up, we got San Fran and Washington. San Francisco's a moderate to slightly heavy favorite in this one with a total of 9. Looking at this, 65% NRFI based on what they've done this year. Offensively, 5 runs versus 4.3. That's 12th and 18th with advantage going to San Fran. Washington gets the advantage in batting average, 296 for 4th. Meanwhile, 245 for 14th for San Francisco. They're both pretty good, which means I can't take a NRFI. I need low averages for a NRFI, so that's not good. So in strikeouts, Washington's number 1. They just don't strike out. They're getting that rarefied air up there with like KC, San Diego, Cleveland, because they're starting to show trends of just not striking out. San Fran, 29th in the last 3. That's 12.7. San Fran tends to strike out a good bit, so they swing a lot. So looking at the pitchers, we see Logan Webb's going out there for San Fran. Dude has been got rocked against Toronto. Then this basic 4 earned run games, and then bam, a random 9, a random complete game with no earned runs. So we got to watch and see, do they limit his innings this game because he pitched 9 innings last game, which a lot of times they do. So he might only go 5 innings. That's a thing to watch. So props are going to be in jeopardy. So in his counterpart, Patrick Corbin. So I can't help but laugh at it because you can see 13 and 10. Oh, I told you, I knew he had it in him all season. He's been pitching great. I've been saying he's been doing decently, but I expect him to do this eventually. And sure enough, he did it. It happened. All Corbin-esque. So you see what happens. Let's go to the props. Let's go to histories. Corbin versus Giants. Get ready and chuckle. There you go. You can see it's all green. Everything's green. And the ones I want to point out, Kana, 26 at bats, 462, home run 2, 1.1 OPS. He is on my list of dudes that stood out. Also, Conforto, 31 at bats, 355, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 1.1 OPS. You were also on my list of dudes that stood out. You could add some others, but there's just not enough at bats. I need more history to show what they do. And clearly those two dudes like facing Corbin. On top of that, the entire Giants lineup likes facing lefties. So there you go. Look at all these 300s. 423, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 292, 294. The worst one that actually has at bats is probably Yastrzemski at 240 or Bailey at 246. Those are the worst ones. Yeah, we're going to have fun today. Let's look at props. Hits, 5.5. I don't know how many innings he's actually going to hit. He gave up 13 last time. Yep. Corbin over 5.5 hits allowed is on the list. We'll see what else we can add, and then we'll knock it down. Strikeouts is a no. Nope, can't do it. Earned runs, I don't trust this. It's 2.5. I like the hits better. just in case, just in case. So if I had to pick the two, I'm picking hits because it's only 5.5, and everybody loves hitting lefties. They can hit some bloop singles, and all of a sudden they leave the bases loaded, and all of a sudden he's not getting earned runs. So, so walks and outs. I don't like outs either. So earned runs is even heavier juice. This is more lightly juiced. I like that. Let's look at some base hitter props now. Not many hitters have done that well recently. Yastrzemski's got over a base in 8 out of 10. Nothing truly stand. A lot of them kind of struggled here recently. So that's something you can look at. So for me, I'm going to take that Corbin over 5.5 hits allowed, and I'm also going to take San Fran money line, and it will go into the money line parlay I do. And I just taken the parlay now. We don't do money lines by themselves anymore, just in the parlay. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do there. I don't like the total. We'll just take San Fran. Yep, we'll do that. Yeah, that's it. San Fran and Corbin over 5.5 hits allowed. Call today. Next game. All right, next up, I got Houston and Texas. We see it's a slight favor for Houston, but it's basically a pick 'em. 8.5 is your total. Looking at this, 54% nerfy based on what they've done this year. Houston's offense is struggling. That's the best thing I can say about it. 1.3 at a $1.94. That's 30th and 26th. That ain't good. That ain't gonna get it done. Texas, 5 and 240. That's 12 and 19th. So you got to give the advantage to Texas. Pitching, Haney's going out there. Haney's had a rough couple games. Before that, he did face Houston on the 12th. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned. Not bad. Hunter also faced same day against Texas, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned. They copied each other basically. And you can see he has a little bit of a rough game himself coming off. So we have 2 pitchers coming off slightly rough games. They both face each other in the last month. So that, okay, those stand out. Let's look at the props to see what's happening over here. Let's go with Haney first. History against Houston. We see some numbers. We see numbers like Jordan, 20 at bats, 500 average, 1 home run, 3 ribbies at a 1.3. He's going to go on my list of dudes I stood out. We'll see if we want to take one of his batting props here in a minute. Also, you can look at Bregman, 40 at bats, 325, 857. You can look at Altuve. Average is a little down, but the OPS is nice. You can see all of these things here. Looking at versus lefties, you can see how they do. Jordan's 367 against lefties with a 1.0 OPS against them. So yeah, he likes hitting some lefties. Altuve likes hitting some lefties. There's lots of things you can take here. Looking at the props, I don't really like any of these pitching props. I looked through these already. I'll just roll through them so you can see a lot of ups and downs. Nothing's truly like this is consistent, but 15.5 is no, I can't do it. So I'm gonna pass on his. Hunter Brown. Let's go to matchup history. Houston, bang, there we go. We can see things like Simeon, 714 and 14 at bats with a 1.5 OPS. He's on the list now. And then you got somebody like, who else is on the list? Simeon. Yeah, Simeon's on the list. Jordan's on. Okay, those two are on the list. And you got some like Lowe who's 083. Highlight the ones that are bad too because they're there for a reason. So yeah, there's a couple dudes we want to look at. Against righties, you can see how they do. Some are just not that good. Some are good. So it's up and down. Looking at the props, again, I've looked through these. Guess who took the red one? Yeah, that's right. I took it last time. Of course, I took a couple of these too. So, but yeah, I'm not. No. You burned me once. We'll see what happens again. So we can see they might be trying to slowly shut them down just to get ready for the playoffs because they're convinced they're going to make the playoffs. Hits, earned runs, walks. Nothing truly stands out. So for me, let's pop over to the hitting props, see if anyone stands out. We have only a handful of greens here. I need 70 or higher. It has to be green in their last 10. If it's in the yellow, I'm not touching it. You can, I'm not. So we got Diaz, we got Singleton, Diaz, and Jung. Neither of these are Simeon or Jordan, so I'm not going to take them. Now, if you want to take these, something Jordan or Simeon in like a home run thing, by all means, have fun. I'm not. I might. We'll see at the end. But so far for this game, the only thing I like is I think the pitchers are about equal. Texas has the advantage in the bats. I can't take a nerfy because of, well, can I take a nerfy? Hold up. Am I able to take a nerfy? That's a question. Both pitchers are coming off rough games. I really don't want to do that. So for me, 8.5, I don't like the 8.5. I don't like any props. What's money line? Texas is slightly underdogs. I am going to think Haney can do a good. Haney had 2 rough games. All right, so I don't I don't feel confident in these plays. I lean Texas, but I don't feel confident. So for me, I'm just going to pass on this and move on to the next game. All right, next we got Minnesota and Chicago. And Minnesota's a slight favorite on the road with a total of 8. Looking at 57% NRFI based on what they've done this year. Look at the numbers. NRFI ain't happening. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. 9.7 runs a game for Minnesota in their last 3 for first, 313 for second on the batting average. Yes, they faced the White Sox, but look before that. They were still second in the last week, 7th in the week, 2 weeks for runs. They were 8th in 2 weeks for batting average. So it wasn't just because they faced the White Sox. They've just been heating up recently. And Chicago, they're 5.3 for 10th while batting 253 for 11th. So you got to give the advantage to Minnesota slightly. Yes, they played the White Sox. You got to factor that in too. So Chicago plays St. Louis. So better opponents, sure. And neither team is striking out much. Look at the pitchers. We have Hendricks going out there. He's been struggling a little bit. 3 runs is about average, but 6 is not. 5 is a great game. You can see the game in 777 here. So you can see what he's done. Hasn't faced Minnesota recently. Festa's going out there for Minnesota. Hasn't faced the Cubs, but he had a rough game, and then 2 pretty decent games. So now they get to face offenses that are both hot, especially Hendricks, who's facing the #1 offense right now. So one thing I'm instantly looking at is going to be this over of 8, because I love over 8, because 4-4 is my favorite baseball score, because if you 4-4, the over is 8, I win. Somebody's got to score a run. So cool. We're going to take the over of 8. Over 8. Next on the list. Let's see what we got. Props. Let's look at some history. Festa has no history versus the Cubs because he's only pitched a handful of games. Versus righties, Cubs aren't that good. You can see we got a lot of red, and we got some low 2s on there. 2018, 202, 156, 216. We do have a 333, but he doesn't play much. So you can see they're better against lefties. Looking at this, we have some props, but if you're taking props on a guy who's only pitched 3 times, hey, enjoy it. Have fun. Maybe call a number. Hey, so we could joke around. You see, he's been strikeout 6 last time. Earned runs, he's been over 1.5 all 3 games, but it's 1.5 again. So yeah, do with that what you will. Hendricks, history versus the Twins, it's all green. And we see Santana's 308 and 13 at bats with a .93. Kepler is 3 at bats, 2 home runs with a 4.3 OPS. Whoa, that's a line right there. Kepler, welcome to the dudes. Sorry, buddy. Normally with 3 at bats, I wouldn't do it, but when you've hit the 2 home runs and 3 at bats, I got to add you. Hopefully, we'll see if you show up in another list. So, and then we see some other guys. And then Minnesota versus righties. They're better against lefties, but even then, the numbers aren't bad. 360. The lowest numbers are 210. That's your worst number. So they're better against lefties, but they're not bad against righties. So let's look at the props. Strikeouts is 3.5, no shots. Hits, very up and down. It's 4.5 against the number 2 batting average right now. Ooh, look at that. Let's look at, yeah, we see what he's done. That was KC. That might be a move. That might be. Earn runs. We don't have outs because we don't know how many innings he's going to pitch, because as you look at his come back here, we see he's been only doing 5 recently. He did 2 here, 3.2, so he's he gets pulled. So I don't know if I like any of the props. Let's go look at the bats, see if anyone stands out from the bat side. Oh, not many people have done well on the bats recently. Okay, so we have Swanson, who is 8 of 10 on bases. Warner's a couple times here, but outside of that, everyone's yellow. And if they're yellow, I don't do it. So I need them to be green. I need to get this last 10 to be green, not just last 5. I need some trends. I need consistency. So we're going to come back here, and we're going to take that over of 8. Do I like Minnesota money line in this one? No, because of this. Fest is pitching. He's had 2 good games and 2 terrible games, so I don't trust that. I do like the over. I like that one. So I'm going to take the over of 8. I'm going to pass on everything else and move on to the next game. All right, next up we got Boston and Kansas City. We have KC as a slight to even moderate favorite at home. 10 is the total in this one. Looking at this, 46% NRFI baseball is happening. Look at all those single digits. No shot NRFI's happening in this one. 7.3 versus 5.7. That's 2nd and 5th in runs in their last 3 games. 325 for Boston is number 1 in the majors in the last 3. 267 is 7th. So yeah, offense is clicking. Slight advantage Boston because they are better. Almost, 50, 60, 70 points better batting average and 1.5, 2 runs better. Yeah, Boston can have a slight advantage in the bats. And neither team is striking out too much. Casey's actually doing worse than they usually do. Normally, you see the number 1 the last 2 weeks at 5.4. That's what they usually hang out at. They've been a little more swing happy recently. So looking at the pitchers, Paxton's going out there. Second game with Boston. He 6 hits, 3 earned against Seattle in his first Boston outing. Before that, he was with the Doyas. You see what he did. Pretty good numbers outside of that game, but yeah. And Singer's going out there. We know what Singer does. Singer 3-0-0-4-1-1-1. Singer's good. So I got to give Singer the push. So I would say KC has the advantage in pitching. Boston has the advantage in the bat slightly. So 10 is your total though with Singer pitching. How is 10 a total? Unless you expect. I mean, it is Singer versus Boston's offense, so that's going to be a fun matchup. I don't know who's going to win that one. That's the somebody's going to win that one. So I don't know who's going to win. So looking at the props, let's dig a little deeper. Paxton history versus KC. We don't have many at bats, but everybody has faced somewhat. So there's been a home run for Bobby. Perez has a home run. You can see what they've done. Not many at bats though. Renfroe is 0 for 8 though, and DeJong's 0 for 7. Those are things to point out. So, and against lefties, KC is about 50-50. Some are good, some are not. Like 356, 308, but then you got 351, but then you got like 194, 125, 183. So they're split. Looking at the props for Paxton, strikeouts, couple downward ladders, don't like that, or staircases, if you will. Hits, he either does great or he gives up a ton. No. Earned runs, he's been same story. In walks, ooh, he walks a good bit. And outs, very up and down, so I don't like those. Singer, history against Boston, not many things either. Devers, 375 and 8 at bats with a homer. Smith has a homer. Outside of that, not much going on. So it's really hard. Boston versus righties, some are great. 339, 400, 308, 304. Even the bad ones, the 215s, the worst one on the board. So again, they're good. Some are good against righties, some are better against lefties, but they're still good all around. Hence why Boston's a good team. Looking at this number, he's gone 7 innings in 4 out of his last 5 games. Does that continue? I don't know. Strikeouts. Boston is not striking out much. They usually do. Boston usually hangs out on the bottom 5 strikeouts, but they're doing much better here recently. So look at this. 4.5. No. I don't want clear plays. We're being way better with plays this month, so that's what we're trying to do here. But now I'm not liking any of that. So let's go to the bats, see if anything stands out. Devers over 1.5 HRR is 100%. And how is Devers doing against Singer? We just saw this. Devers 375. So yep. And is that just a straight? Is that a good play? 155? No, it's not a good enough play for just by itself. Devers. We got Rafaela 90%. Devers bases. DeJong bases. Abreu, Wong, Tyler O'Neill, Renfroe. Renfroe has a 0 average against Paxton, so that's a no. And Pasquinto, so yeah, you could probably put some of these, compare them together, and get you a nice little parlay going with these two. I don't want to do that. Yeah, this one. Yeah. I don't like the over 10. I don't like a side. I think this one, I'm just going to leave everything alone, pass, and move on to the next game. All right, this one should be quick. It's Chicago and Oakland, the matchup of the century. Chicago has not announced a pitcher yet, so it makes it a little harder. We do have Oakland minus 175. Over under is 8. Looking at the 61% nervy based on what they've done this year, 3.7 runs a game while batting $182 for Chicago in their last 3. That's 20th and 28th, and they're striking out a bunch, 26 and 11.3. Oakland 2.7 runs, that's 27th, 220 average for 21st, and they're middle of the road strikeouts. And Chicago has lost 20 in a row. But looking at this, Chicago's trending up, Oakland's trending down. What does that mean? I mean, if I would be shocked if Chicago didn't win one of these games in this series. Just saying right there. I would actually be shocked because Oakland's trending down. And it's not because Oakland's bad. Oakland's won 46 games. And if they had better management style when it comes to some of their pitching, I think they'd be even contention for 500. So, yeah. So you can see what they've done. Oakland has a better average. Chicago has better runs. So let's look at the one pitcher we can is JP Sears because Chicago hasn't announced theirs yet. Sears, what he has done, been good, got roughed up against Houston, but outside of that, that one Houston game was bad. That Minnesota game was bad, but outside of that, pretty good numbers. Can't complain. So let's look at the props, see what we got. We have history. He's faced a little bit. Benintendi's 2 for 6. Sosa's 2 for 3. 2 for 3 for Robert. Home runs here and here. Nothing truly stands out. Chicago versus lefties, Chicago versus righties. I say they're better against lefties because at least you got a 295 out of him, 297 here. 250, 245, but then you got a 091, 143, 171. I mean, Chicago's numbers just aren't good. That's why they're lost 20 in a row, right? So let's look at hits, 5.5, strikeouts, earned runs, walks, and outs. I mean, none of these are good. I'm not finding any pitching props today. This is kind of shocking, but we don't push around here. We're not just going to take this to have one. So let's look at the bats, see if anything stands out. Rooker, who has been the lone bright spot on Oakland's offense, has gone over two or more bases in the last 7 out of 10, over 1.5 HRR. We don't know who's pitching for Chicago, so I can't really do that. Benintendi's over bases. Other than that, it's a bunch of yellow that I don't want to do. So, yeah, my gut, based on my stats reading and everything, says Chicago and Oakland are close in this one. We don't know who the pitcher is, so we can't do that. The bats are super close, but outside of that, there's not much difference. So for me, until we know a pitcher, I got to pass on it and just move on to the next game. All right, last game, we got the Phillies and the Dodgers, and we got the Dodgers slight favorites at home, 7.5 total, 34% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. That's encroaching on Yerfy percentage. 4.3 for 18th for Philly, 243 for 17th. So they're about average in the last 3 games. Dodgers 6 runs per 4, 252 for 12th. So you got to give the advantage to Dodgers slightly in this one. And LA is still striking out a ton at 11.3. Phillies middle of the road. Looking at pitching, we got Nola going out there, who has shown he likes to strike dudes out, and now he's facing the Dodgers again, who he struck out 9 on the 11th. 4 hits, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. Against the Dodgers, who's striking out a ton, that might be a play. So let's see what else we have. Glasnow's going out there. He's been not the Glasnow we're used to. He's been good, but he's not been what we're used to. So he's getting better, as you can see. Let's look at the props, see if anything stands out. We'll start with Nola. History against the Doyers. Freeman's not even playing still, I don't think. I don't know why they keep putting him in there. It keeps confusing me. So they should take him out when he's out. 28th for $143 for Rosario's not good. Hayward's a 083, not good. So you can see what they have here against righties. You can see the numbers. Not terribly good numbers. There's a lot of ones on here, a lot of low 2s. Ooh, they're 318 for Ohtani, but that's about it. Let's look at some props. Outs, strikeouts. Nola strikeouts is 5.5. He's facing the Dodgers. He's swinging a bunch. The numbers are not that great. I think I like this play. I think I like Nola over 5.5 Ks. Head to head, he hit it twice. Now they faced twice last year, 5 and 7. He hit 9 earlier this year. For the season, he's gone over 5.5, 55, 12 out of 22 times. I bet some of these numbers are against low scoring, low strikeout teams. So yeah, we'll go with this. That's fine. I'll take that play. Hits, earned runs, pretty consistent. Nothing's truly standing out. I do like that. Now Glasnow, let's look at his history against Philly. Not much. Hayes is what, 2 for 11? That's not good. So you can see those numbers. Against righties, Phillies, they're better against lefties, it looks like, because we got a 100, 100, 100, low 2, 305 for Bohm. Outside of that, Turner's 312, but he's 312 on both. That's what white means. They're both the same. No matter lefty or righty, he's going to be the same. Yeah. Strikeouts, outs. Yeah. You see, he's not been too dominant, but that's not good. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's come over the hits, see if anything. Okay, we got some stuff in the hits. Lux was good yesterday. Lux paid out for us nicely, 9 out of 10. Going against Nola though, I don't like that matchup, just to be honest. Nola looks like he might deal. Nola might shove today a little bit. I'm saying Nola might do good, so that makes me lean Philly. But we know Philly's been so Schwarber. Yeah, there's some dudes on here could get some numbers, but I'm just gonna. Ooh, I got the Nola strikeout so far. I don't. You lean LA in the bats, but I lean Philly. I lean Nola over Glasnow right now. I just have to say it. I think Nola. I would take Nola over Glasnow if you made me pick. I got to. So I have the history. I have recency. So yeah, I would take him. I don't like these props. Yeah, Yeah, we're just going to take that NOLA over and a half, 5.5 Ks, and it's called a day. All right, so there we go. All 9 games broken down. Pass on a good many games, but hey, that's what it is. You don't want to push games just to have games out there. That's how you end up losing money. We want to take actual clear advantages statistically, so that's what we do around here. Moneyline parlay. I ended up with one money line, just San Francisco. So we're not going to have a money line parlay. I'm going to take San Francisco off of the list now because of that. I don't want to take them straight. So we're going to take San Francisco off of it. Just have that Corbin over 5.5 hits allowed. Outside of that, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 plays. So 9 games, 4 plays. Some days I have 15 to 20 plays, and then you have days like this where the stats just do not line up. And it happens. We're not going to push things. We're not going to rush things. It happens. So 4 plays. Wow, yeah. It's three pitcher props and a total. That's all I have. That's crazy. So no money line parlay. For the bats that stood out, I will say these. Pham, Conforto for San Fran, Kana for San Fran, Jordan, Simeon for Texas, Kepler, and Devers all had pretty good numbers that stood out. I'll say that. I might mess around, throw some tickets out for like some hard runs or whatever later, but not right now. So just for the video here, just for these picks and everything, those are the bats that stood out. No money line parlay, just 4 total plays. We're going to call it a day. It's Monday. It's a light day. We had a beautiful day yesterday, so we can take a slight break. It's okay. The numbers just didn't line up today. So tomorrow they most likely will have better outcomes. So drop a like, subscribe, check out Outlier. That's what I use for all my information. There's a link in the description. You get a free week when you sign up for it. It's awesome. Use them. They're great. On top of that, if you want to join the membership, Discord, Patreon, all that, links are in the description and the top comment. So again, I appreciate all of you watching and always being here and dropping comments and let me know who to play, who you're going to play. I'm trying to build a community. I think it's going well so far. So outside of that, we will see you tomorrow. Peace.